Hello, everyone. I am so excited to guide you through today's lesson on the TOEFL reading section. We are focusing on the complete the words task, which is a fantastic way to show off your vocabulary and grammar precision. We are going to travel back in time to explore a historical town and solve some linguistic puzzles along the way. Get ready to sharpen your context clue skills as we break down this passage together. If you want to master the TOEFL and boost your confidence, make sure to subscribe to my TOEFL for more expert lessons. Let's keep moving toward your dream score together. To start our lesson, let's look at the very first sentence of the paragraph. This sentence is vital because it establishes the setting and the main topic we will be discussing. Since it is already complete, we should use it to gather as much information as possible about the time and place. Listen for the key themes that will help us solve the blanks later in the text. During the early Ottoman period, the town of Amasya became an important center for education and administration. This opening sentence is our foundation. It tells us that our story takes place during the early Ottoman period, giving us a historical context. We are focusing on the town of Amasya, which was a significant hub. The two main themes here are education and administration. This means we should expect the rest of the paragraph to talk about schools, students, government, or how the city was run. Understanding this now will make the missing words much easier to find later. Now, you might notice that the next two sentences have several words with missing letters. Instead of jumping right in, we are going to skip them for a moment. This is a great strategy because it allows us to see the full picture first. By understanding the sentences that follow, we can confirm the logic and flow of the story, which makes filling in those blanks much more accurate when we return to them. Let's build our context first. We are now moving to the fourth sentence. This sentence is complete and provides more detail about the town's daily activities. It supports the main idea by giving us a specific look at what was happening in the educational side of the city. Pay close attention to the subjects being taught and who was involved. Teachers organized public lessons in poetry, mathematics, and navigation for curious students from different social backgrounds. This sentence adds wonderful detail to our theme of education. It mentions public lessons, which tells us that learning was a community activity. We also see that these lessons were for curious students, showing the town was full of eager learners. The fact that they came from different social backgrounds emphasizes that Amasya was a diverse and inclusive center of knowledge. These details reinforce the idea that the city was a busy, intellectual place. Finally, let's look at the concluding sentence of the paragraph. This sentence summarizes the significance of the town and explains how we know about its history today. It acts as a bridge between the past and the present, helping us wrap up our understanding of the whole passage. Today, many preserved buildings and written sources help researchers understand daily routines and community organization in historical Anatolian towns. This conclusion brings everything together. By looking at preserved buildings and written sources, we can see how the history of the town survived. These clues allow researchers to understand the community organization of the past. It confirms that the paragraph is a historical overview of how a community lived and worked together. Now that we have the full story, we are ready to tackle those missing letters. Let's return to the first missing word in our second sentence. Remember to use the context of people moving from one place to another to find the right fit. Young, far, from. The word begins with the letters F, A, and R, and there are 4 blanks remaining to complete it. In this sentence, we are looking for the subject, the people who are traveling from the villages. Since they are coming from rural areas to a market square, it makes perfect sense that they are farmers. Notice how the word needs to be plural to match the context of a group of people moving toward the town. By combining the available information with the logic of the sentence, we find our answer. Now let's look at the description of the villages these people are coming from. Think about how we describe traditional settlements in a historical context. Young farmers from villages followed a narrow. The word begins with the letter O and has 2 blanks left to be filled. We need an adjective to describe the villages. Since this passage is set in a historical period, the most natural word to describe these long-standing settlements is old. Based on what is provided, this short adjective fits perfectly before the noun and completes the image of a traditional rural landscape. Next, we need to identify what these people were following to find their way. Think about what someone would use for navigation. Young farmers from old villages followed a narrow mim along The word starts with the letter M and contains two more blanks to complete it. The sentence tells us they are following something narrow to reach their destination. Considering the available information and the theme of navigation mentioned later in the text, the word is map. This makes sense as a tool used to guide their journey through the landscape toward the busy center. Now, let's look at the natural feature that was located alongside their path. Use the geographic clues in the sentence. Young farmers from old villages followed a narrow map along the Ri to reach the busy. This word begins with the letters R and I and has three blanks to be completed. The text describes the path being positioned along a specific natural element. Looking at the given parts and the historical setting of the town, the most logical feature for a path to follow is a river. This completes the sentence by giving us a clear picture of the route the farmers took. Let's identify the destination of the farmers in the town. Think about where people go to trade and meet others weekly. Young farmers from old villages followed a narrow map along the river to reach the busy Mar Square weekly. The word starts with M, A, and R, and there are three blanks left to finish it. We are looking for a type of square that would be busy on a weekly basis. Given that farmers are visiting from nearby villages, they are likely there to buy and sell goods. Based on what is provided, the word that describes this center of commerce is market. This fits the context of a bustling town center perfectly. Now we move to the next sentence about the local leaders. We need to find the action they took regarding the records. Local leaders car records of. The word begins with the letters C, A, and R and has four empty blanks. In this sentence, we need a verb in the past tense to describe the responsibility of the leaders. When someone maintains or keeps formal documents, we can say they carried those records. Considering the available information, this verb correctly describes the administrative action taken by the officials in Amasya. Next, let's figure out what kind of numbers the leaders were tracking. Think about the administrative role mentioned at the beginning. Local leaders carried records of Papya, numbers, and encouraged. The word starts with P, O, P, and U, and has six blanks to be completed. The leaders were keeping track of the people living in the area. The administrative term for the total number of people in a town or region is the population. Based on what is provided, this noun perfectly completes the phrase regarding the records the leaders maintained. Now we look at what else the leaders encouraged. Think about economic activities that happen in a market square. Local leaders carried records of population numbers and encouraged trin in. The word begins with the letters T and R and has three blanks to fill. The leaders wanted to strengthen the economy, so they supported the exchange of goods. Considering the available information and the mention of a market earlier, the word we are looking for is trade. It is a key part of how the town grew stronger and more connected. Let's identify the specific type of goods being discussed. Think about materials used in historical commerce. Local leaders carried records of population numbers and encouraged trade in stock goods to strengthen. The word starts with S and T and has three blanks remaining. We need an adjective to describe the goods. Looking at the given parts and the historical context of regional trade, the word is stone. Trading in these durable goods was a significant part of the local economy and helped the region develop. Finally, let's find the word for the industry they wanted to strengthen across the valleys. Think about farming and food production. Local leaders carried records of population numbers and encouraged trade in stone goods to strengthen agri across nearby valleys. The word starts with the letters A, G, R, and I, and has seven blanks left. The sentence describes an activity happening across the valleys to provide for the community. Based on what is provided, the word for large-scale farming and land cultivation is agriculture. This fits the historical and geographic context perfectly, showing how the town's administration supported the local food supply.